Thanks everybody for joining and our fun online make and take class. It's going to be, should be really fun, I hope. And just really wanted to give people an opportunity to maybe try a few new recipes. Also wanted you to be able to, do something fun, maybe try something you haven't done before. Maybe you've never made your own rollers. And then I also kind of created some bonus content around inhalers and some kind of trying to give some education around the different types of carrier oils that we can use, because I know that that's there. Oh, Mom, I can see your video now. If you don't want that to be shown, then you just have to press the do not show button. I can turn that off for you. There. Doesn't matter. You're just in the kitchen. Okay, so let me run through the slides really quick, and then we'll take a quick poll and see if you guys want to actually make the recipes while we're on here, or just take the recipes back and do them on your own time. But I definitely have time if you want to stay and make them together. But we'll run through the education first, and then we'll get going. So first off, I want to just tell you a little bit about what we're going to go over. So first off, I want to talk about why roller bottles. Like, why make your own blends, and why are those helpful to your health, and what are some of the benefits to doing that? Also, if you've never made your own inhaler, I want to show you how to do that and talk a little bit about why you might want to do that. And then we're going to talk, because roller bottles always need a carrier oil, I'm going to talk about some different types of carrier oils, and then go through some essential oil math. So I know you probably didn't know you were going to do math tonight, but we're going to do some essential oil math. And then we'll run into the to the recipes. So that's the layout for tonight and what we'll be going over. So first off, typically what we usually would be doing is talking about the 3 ways to use oils: aromatically, topically, internally. But tonight what we're going to do is mostly talk about just the first 2, aromatic and topical. And so when we think about those, I want you to think about the benefits, the health benefits, and the reason why you might choose one application type over the other. So for aromatic, I always think of that as, honestly, that can be really for everything, aromatic. When in doubt, you can always just inhale oils. And inhaling oils have many benefits because you get to take advantage of your respiratory system. And so you're able to not only just get that, inhale it in and actually affect your lungs, but you also affect your emotions. And so when you inhale a scent, it goes right from your nose to your brain, and it activates the part of our brain called the limbic system, which is very much associated with memory and emotions. And so we're able to actually activate that, but more than just mood, it can activate other systems in our body as well. It can help to release neurotransmitters in our body that can help to relax us, that can help us to feel more calm and to down-regulate the stress hormones in our body. So without actually having to take a drug or without actually having to do yoga, you can actually have the experience of down-regulating your stress system just by inhaling. And so that's one of the main benefits of aromatic. It's also a fantastic, easy thing to do for people who have really sensitive skin. So some people, have no issues with their skin at all, and they can, kind of like me, I can put anything on my skin and I never break out. But my mom is totally different, and she puts something on her skin and she can actually get broken out on her skin. So sometimes she wants the benefit, but she can't apply it topically. You can use aromatic for anyone, and you cannot even overdose on aromatic. So that's the other cool thing, is that by just inhaling some of the oils, you get the benefits without the topical risk. So for topical, we use, what I like to recommend is that you always apply the oil to the place closest to where you want the action. So if I have a headache, I could put oils on the bottom of my feet, and they would get in my body and give me a systemic reaction. But I think you should actually put it as close as possible to the place that hurts. So if your head hurts, then put it on your head. If your shoulders are achy because you've been sitting at the computer or exercising, then you should put the oils on your shoulders. If you've strained your knee or you have inflammation in your knee, you should apply the oil to your knee. Digestion, put it to your stomach. Can you always use your spine and the back of the bottoms of your feet, the back of your neck, these large vessels? You can always use those. But my rule of thumb is to always apply the oils as close to where the action is. So mental stuff, I try to put it back of my neck, through here on my large vessels in my neck, maybe across the heart. If I'm looking for digestion, then I'll put it on my stomach. I hope that makes sense. So anyways, and internal we're not going to talk about tonight, but we all know that we can use them, and especially use them in baking and things like that. Okay, so first off, since the whole class is mostly going to be focused on roller bottles, but what I sent you, so to not confuse you, what I sent you were inhaler recipes, which can easily be translated over to roller bottles. And so I just didn't want people to go like, well, you sent me the wrong sheet. You gave me inhalers, but we're doing roller bottles. No, I did it on purpose because I love these recipes and I love these stickers, but you can use them any way you want. So first off, I just thought I would show you what a little inhalers look like. You can buy them on any of the stores. And let's just be honest, they kind of look like tampons, but they're not. Just so that you know, if you've never seen them, that's what they kind of look like. So basically they have 4 parts to them. They have the cover, which keeps it clean. You have the wand that you inhale from. You have the wick, this little white part that goes down in here, and then it has a cap that holds everything together. So once you put the wick inside here, you have to cap it off. And I think the easiest way to make these is to just put the wick, the little cotton part, down inside the inhaler, and then just drip the oils right onto the little, let me just take one out, to the little cotton wick. You can just drop it in, and then you just drop how many ever oils and numbers that you want or how strong you like it. And then you just put the cap on the back side, and then you just pop it in, or I think sometimes you have to screw it in, but no, cap it. And then this part screws into the cover. And then you can label these and you can give these away, but it's a really easy way to actually use oils. And the oils will stay in here because you keep it capped up. For 6 to 9 months, it will stay. And so it's a really nice economical way to use it. And if you're super intense, you can stick it in your nose and hold one nose and inhale. But I just like to whiff it like I would out of the bottle, but easy to go, and I don't have to take all my oils with me. I don't have to worry about losing my oil bottles. And TSA doesn't check these. So FYI, these are not liquid. So they're not going to be, they don't count against your liquids when you're traveling. So you can make any of these to take with you on the go. So nausea, inhale, you get the idea. So easy inhalers, and easy to use, easy to carry, easy to make, last for a really long time, super economical, and really just anywhere from about 6 to 10 drops of anything is going to be good. So anyways, I wanted to share with you those, and you can buy those from any of the stores, the inhalers on Amazon. You can get all sorts of them, but they're kind of fun and easy. So roller bottles are my other favorite thing. And there are several reasons why I like roller bottle recipes and why I like to use my oils diluted. So typically when people were using essential oils before the doTERRA world existed, they usually diluted oils, not only because they didn't want they wanted to extend the life of oils, but because also a lot of old oils that didn't have really pure properties had a lot of contaminants and things that would irritate people's skin. And so in order to minimize that risk, people always recommended for us to dilute the oils. Now there are many, well not many, there are really 5 super hot oils that you always want to dilute. And you guys know those, right? Oregano, thyme, cinnamon, cassia, oregano, right? Oregano, thyme, cassia, cinnamon. Did I miss one? What's the 5th one, Britt? There's 5.
I don't know what the last one is, but you said oregano
Cinnamon,
twice.
thyme.
So.
Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Cinnamon, cassia, thyme, oregano. Oh, somebody help me out. What's the fifth one? All right, well, we'll just say those are the top 4. Those are the top 4. I think there's 5. I swear there's 5. Anyways, you get the idea. So we want to always dilute those because those are super hot oils. Maybe it's ginger. Ginger's pretty hot. But anyways, you want to always dilute those. But for the reason I really like to dilute oils is, number one, it actually increases the effect. And so when we open our bottle of essential oils, right, we open it up, they're volatile. We call them volatile or aromatic compounds, which means that they quickly evaporate. That's what volatile means. Volatile aromatic compounds. That's why we can smell them right out of the bottle, because they're off-gassing from the bottle. This is why we have an orifice reducer, is to actually keep it from completely evaporating. If you leave the lid off, this will evaporate after a few days. Well, it may take a few weeks, but it's going to evaporate. So we use the orifice reducer not only to help us control dosing, but also to keep it from just evaporating so quickly. So when you mix a volatile oil with a carrier oil, you basically encapsulate this oil in the fat. And that's going to keep it from flashing off immediately. And so you're not going to lose the effect. And so it will actually give you a longer aroma that way. And that's why we love to use carrier oils with our essential oils. The other thing is that when you apply it to your skin, it's going to flash off just the same as it does out of the bottle. It's going to flash off your skin. It's just going to evaporate. And if you lock it with a carrier oil, it will stay on your skin longer, and it will actually give you a longer effect. So kind of like a dose, like a slow release medication, you kind of slow release the oil if you keep it locked up in a carrier oil. So that's why I like to use it that way as well. And the other thing it does is it moisturizes. The carrier oil moisturizes the skin. And when your skin is moisturized, it will actually absorb more. And it will also help to spread out the essential oil more evenly across your skin, which will reduce the risk for irritation for people who do have sensitive skin. And it will dilute it so it's a lower dose, so people who have sensitive skin, again, won't be as affected. And you can then easily adjust based on the age you're going to use. So if you're going to use it on a small person, you can dilute a lot, or an older person, you can dilute a lot. And if you're using it on a young adult or just a regular adult, then you can actually use like a full dose or something that you don't have to dilute nearly as much. So you can easily adjust for people's skin sensitivity and adjust for age. So which I love. That's why I love making roller bottles, because you can adjust. So people, and they're so easy to use, right? You know, you just take the bottle and you just, you know, roll it on wherever you need to, right? And we've all seen kids do it, and I'm sure, Brittany, you have cute pictures of your kids rolling oils on themselves, and it makes it so easy and a lot less dangerous if they get into them. They can't really drink from a roller bottle, whereas they could really drink from a real bottle. So I think they're safer. It's safer too. So those for me are the reasons why I love roller bottles. So let's talk about carrier oils. And so I gave you guys the handout, so I'm not going to really go through a huge amount of detail, but just to remind you that carrier oils come in various forms, and you can find your favorites. And we, you know, of course, with doTERRA, we all use the fractionated coconut oil. We use that one the most. But you can use any oil, any vegetable oil, or seed oil that you have that you love, even MCT oils if you're kind of into MCT oil. To me, that's kind of an expensive carrier oil. I would probably not use it that way. But most of us use fractionated coconut oil. So you have the notes, and so you see that there are things like olive oil. And that was probably one of the first carrier oils I used because it was already in my kitchen. The problem is olive oil has an olive oil smell, right? And so it really overpowers the aromatherapy. And although in a pinch, if I feel like my skin is irritated, if I'm trying an oil that I haven't tried before and it's kind of hot, and if I'm in the kitchen, I'll grab olive oil. But really, honestly, I don't use it to mix because it has a really strong smell to me. Almond oil, on the other hand, I love that, and it can be really moisturizing and also has no odor. So again, just kind of up to you if you like that one. Other ones that are maybe becoming a little more popular and available, avocado oil. You know, you can buy a really big bottle at Costco now. Apricot oil is a little more expensive, less kind of common to find, but you have in the notes, you know, all the different kinds of carrier oils. Jojoba oil has been used for decades, has a little bit of a nutty smell, and I would store it in the fridge because it's more likely to go rancid. And then, of course, argan oils, which are hard to really get pure argan oils as a carrier, and so they're quite expensive. And so if you find them at a good price, they're probably synthetic and probably not very good for your skin anyways. But if you can get real argan oil, it is great for skin. And others that we probably see, sunflower, MCT. Some people like MCT for because it's food grade, so they kind of like that. They feel like it's a little bit cleaner than some of the others. And then coconut. So you can find coconut unrefined and coconut refined. So coconut unrefined is the kind that you would have maybe in the kitchen for cooking. That's the one that gets solid at room temperature. And the problem with that one is that it has a very strong aroma because it's pure, and it does stay solid at room temperature. And so you have to either warm it up in your hands or something before you're actually using it, which is why most of us go for the fractionated coconut. It is refined, but it works really well. It's a very loose liquid, and it really does not have any scent to it. It's very easy to use, and it doesn't have any therapeutic benefits, but it definitely is a great carrier. Hope that makes sense. Any questions? Or are you doing okay? So far, so good? All right. All right, so let's do a little bit of essential oil math. And I try to call this easy essential oil math because I don't like complicated math. But I think when we start talking about dilutions, it gets really confusing for people. And if you're trying to help others who are new to using oils, I wanted to make sure you knew these numbers. So typically we would say a 5 milliliter bottle has 85 drops. Well, that math is not easy math. So what I prefer to say is that 5 milliliters, which is our small bottles, is really more equivalent to 100 drops, and it is truly actually closer to 100 drops when you're not using oils but using water. And that is equivalent to 1 teaspoon. So one of our small bottles, 5 milliliters, 100 drops or 1 teaspoon. So 5 milliliters and 1 teaspoon, same thing. So then if we're going to talk about using roller bottles, we're usually talking about a 10 milliliter vial. So 10 milliliters is 2 teaspoons, or equivalent to about 200 drops. So if we use this math, what comes up is 1 drop in 1 teaspoon, which is 100 mils, or 100 drops, right, is 1%. So 1 drop in 100 drops is 1%. So that's so easy. 1 drop in 1 teaspoon or 5 mils is 1%. So if we're making roller bottles like this that are in 10 milliliters, and we put about 20 drops of our essential oil and then fill it the rest of the way up, it's going to be about a 10% dilution. And then that way you can titrate up and down. So if you want to go even more dilute, then you want to do 5% dilution, then just do 10 drops in 10 mils. If you want to do higher, do 30 drops, 40 drops. Then you're at 20, 15 or 20% in your little bottles. So you can start, that's how you can do the math, and that's how you can then begin to figure out what's right for you. And really what this really means is you don't have to use a lot of oils to make a lot of roller bottles. which means it makes it really efficient and cost effective for you. So in your handout, I also gave you some kind of other math, which are like, when would you use these different percentages? So if you're gonna do like a full body massage, so you're gonna have lots of absorption over lots of areas of your skin, then just use a smaller amount. And again, just 1 drop in 1 teaspoon is 1%, or 5 mils. 10% is if you're gonna use it on small areas. So the other thing is, you know, and for short-term use. So higher dilutions, if you have something acute, and this is 10% or more, right? So you can go higher. If you're gonna do a small area, 10%. Acute, headache, 10%. Short-term use, 10%. If you're gonna use it over larger areas, then go lower because your absorption will be more. And if you wanna use it long-term, then see what's the least that you can use to get the same effect. Does that make sense? So going a little bit and using it a lot versus using a lot and using it a little, right? Using a large amount. So so if any of you use the Deep Blue Rub? Yeah? Okay. So just to give you an example, in every bottle of Deep Blue Rub, so if you have the 4-ounce bottle that most of us have, that has 1 5 ml bottle of Deep Blue oil in 120 mils or 4 ounces. That's essentially a 5% dilution. How well does Deep Blue Rub work? It works great, right? And that's only a 5% dilution. So that's just to give you some context of something that you probably already use on a daily basis that gives you great results, and is only a 5% dilution. So that should tell you kind of how to kind of titrate up or down based on that. So I gave you this really cute guide that came from some website I found somewhere, with just some other little dilution numbers so that you can kind of know. And I liked this chart because it shows, like, for babies 0 to 12 months, that you use the yellow zone. 1 to 5 years, this is where you would start in this orange zone. And then for bigger kids, you can be in this purple zone. And for adults, you can be, you know, starting from here all the way up to the 50% dilution. So I love this little handout. And if you want me to send it to you bigger, let me know. I can send these out bigger, but that's what there were. Okay, so enough talking, because I'm always talking. But let's get to recipes, recipe time. So the first recipe we're gonna do is seasonal stuffiness. And it's not really allergy season, but some people suffer from allergies and seasonal all year round, right? And so we're gonna talk about our seasonal stuffiness recipe. So if you're making the inhaler, or if you wanna use this recipe in your diffuser, it's exactly the same. Or if you're gonna do it in the roller bottle, then I just about doubled the recipe, again, to get us at about that 20 drops in 10 mils. So that's what I'm always going for, 20 drops in 10 milliliters. And if you're not sure if that's gonna be right for you, you could always just make half a bottle. So if you have the little 10 milliliter bottles, the little roller bottles, you can make just half. You can just fill it up halfway and see if you like that, or if it's too strong or not strong enough, and then you can double that. If it's too strong, you can add more coconut oil. If it's not strong enough, you can add more essential oils. So I kind of like to start with half. So do you guys want to make this recipe, or you want me to just go through the recipes? What would you like to do? Unmute yourselves and tell me what you'd like to do tonight.
You can just go through it.
Just run through them?
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Okay.
run through it.
Okay, great. That's what I'll do. And so the other thing that I always love to do is give you alternatives, because you may run out of an oil. And if you run out of an oil, I want you to remember, like, you can substitute other oils and still get the same results. So I put on the recipes some alternatives for the different oils. So for seasonal stuffiness, the classic recipe is lemon, lavender, peppermint. But this one I love because it adds in a wood oil. And wood oils are always great for your respiratory system. But maybe you don't have cedarwood, which I hope you do because it was on sale last month and it was 10% off. So hopefully you got yourself a couple bottles. So cedarwood, but you could also substitute for cedarwood Douglas fir, one of my all-time favorites, and eucalyptus. So let's talk through the ingredients and why they're in this recipe. So number one, lemon. So lemon is actually there to be if you think of lemon, think of it as a diuretic. It is moving fluid out of your body. And when you have seasonal stuffiness, you are runny. You have a runny nose, and it is liquidy and it is clear. And lemon helps to break up and remove that fluid out of your body. That's why lemon is in the recipe. The second ingredient is lavender. And lavender is there because it is antihistamine. It's like Benadryl. So lavender, that's the reason why lavender is in there. And if you have allergies, that's probably what you're taking, Benadryl. So you can use lavender. If you don't have lavender, you can actually use Manuka. And that's the one that's new to us and it's in the convention kit. Manuka is from New Zealand, and it's also anti-allergenic. So if you don't have lavender, or if you're just kind of tired of lavender, you don't like flowers, or you're making it for a husband or something, Manuka is a great substitute, anti-allergenic. The other one that you could use that's going to help to move, I guess I forgot to tell you the other ones you could use for number one, for lemon. So if you don't have lemon, or if you want to switch it up, I would recommend Copaiba. The Copaiba is also a diuretic, and it's also an immune modulator, which we need that when we're talking about allergies, because allergies is a hyperreaction. So we want to modulate that. So Copaiba is fantastic for that. And Bergamot also is another one that's great for moving fluids in our body. So lemon, get the fluids out. Lavender, get rid of allergies. Peppermint to help open our airways because you're usually congested. And that's why peppermint's in the recipe. So you could, if peppermint's too strong for you or you want to use it on smaller kids, you can use spearmint instead. And then I already talked about cedarwood and then substituting other wood oils. So Douglas fir, Siberian fir, if you have eucalyptus, all of those would be great as the fourth ingredient. So you could take and you could mix and match these. And again, just knowing the properties of oils will let you mix and match oils. Does that make sense? Good? Okay. So seasonal stuffiness. Then the next one that we have is, and this is, I think in your recipes, little on your card, it is called Allergy and Seasonal Relief. That's this one. I called it seasonal stuffiness. But your little sticker is here as allergy and seasonal relief. Okay, next for winter, we have to have immune boosters. So of course we have On Guard oil, and we know On Guard is a mixture of wild orange, cinnamon, rosemary, eucalyptus. I think that's it, right? So some of these are similar. So we've got a citrus oil, lemon. So instead of wild orange and On Guard, we're using lemon. And lemon has antiviral effects, so that's great. Also, again, going to help us to. I'm seeing someone's texting me or giving me a chat. I can't get a hold of it. There it is. You don't have a card, Liz. You don't have this card.
No, I don't.
Okay, did you just register today?
No, well, a couple weeks ago.
Oh, it should be in the mail. Maybe it's on its way.
Okay.
So it should be on its way.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So you'll be able to use this. In the meantime, you can use the handout, but you'll get the stickers because we all love a good sticker book, right? Okay, immune booster. So we have a citrus oil, which is great, antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. We have cinnamon, which is also in our On Guard. And it's in On Guard because it is very immune stimulating and also very antibacterial, which we love. Melalueca and eucalyptus, again, very antibacterial, also very immune supporting. And then Copaiba, which is another immune stimulator. So it's like, it's not only gonna boost your immune system to help you stay well, but if you are feeling unwell, it is gonna give you all of those great antimicrobial fighters so that you can actually fight off the bug that is there. So you could use this, inhale it daily, you could diffuse it while you're sleeping, you could put it in your kids' rooms, all of that would be totally fine. Or if you wanna make a roller bottle, then you would make the roller bottle and I would put it on the bottom of my feet and on the back of my spine. I would put it as close on my spine here and bottom of my feet. And then for kids, you can run it up and down their spine and on the bottom of the feet. Of course, lemon, be careful to not put it on any areas that are gonna be too visible to the sun because it's any of the citrus oils are photosensitive, which will make your skin a little more easily burning. So that's why bottom of the feet are great for this one. So again, I'm giving you some suggested substitutions. So I always like to think of Melalueca and Manuka as the same. So if you have Melalueca or you run out of Melalueca, you can use Manuka. If you have Manuka, you can use Melalueca. And they kind of rhyme, so you can kind of remember it that way, Melalueca and Manuka. For eucalyptus, again, another tree oil that's great for the respiratory system. And so substituting something like a fir is gonna be great for that. And if you really wanna really boost it up, you can substitute for lemon, Melissa. Melissa is one of the most powerful antiviral essential oils that are out there, and it is amazing. It's called lemon balm, so it has that lemony scent. So you won't be substituting out something that doesn't smell similar. It also still smells similar. And same with cinnamon and cassia. They smell very much the same, and they come from the cinnamon family, so they have a similar profile. So this is a great overall immune booster, roller bottle, bottom of the feet, inhaler, so you can put it in the inhalers, or you can diffuse it. You can use the exact same recipe at night or if you're feeling unwell. Okay, that's immune booster, and on your little stickers, it's called immune booster, so I didn't even change that name. Next one is for respiratory support. So this takes your Breathe blend. So we all love Breathe, right? I have my Breathe stick right here. I love my Breathe and Breathe stick. But you can take your Breathe and you can amplify it even more and make it more supportive to your lungs. Wild orange, another citrus oil. So citrus is so good for the immune system and for supporting viruses especially. So Breathe already has lemon in it. So you're adding wild orange with that. So to give it extra boost of citruses. And again, Breathe already has Melalueca, but you're amplifying that by adding the Melalueca. Breathe already has eucalyptus, but you're adding more eucalyptus. So you're taking some of the oils that are already in Breathe and you're just stepping it up a notch. And so again, if you said, well, I already have Melalueca from Breathe, I'm gonna substitute that out. You can substitute the Manuka. So put the Manuka in there. If you said, well, eucalyptus is already in there, I'm gonna try something else, put in cypress, Douglas fir, Siberian fir, arbor vitae, any of those wood oils are fantastic for that. So that would be your respiratory one. And so that one is the respiratory support. It's down here on the bottom. The next recipe is all about the brain. Clarity, concentration, focus, 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 focus. And so whenever we talk about anything brain, the base of a recipe is almost always gonna have frankincense. And the reason that we love frankincense is because it can actually pass through the blood-brain barrier. It has a chemical property called sesquiterpenes, and sesquiterpenes allows that to cross through the blood-brain barrier. So, and it's fantastic support for the brain. So to add to that, rosemary. Rosemary is amazing for the brain. So it helps with mental fatigue. It helps us by just inhaling it. So although we can eat rosemary and we put it in, you know, various recipes, the real benefit for this recipe is inhalation. So although we may be putting it in a roller bottle, you want to put it somewhere on your body that you can smell it. So that might be a great way to use it on some diffuser jewelry, to use it as, you know, on your pulse points, you know, like you would for perfume, but you really need to be able to smell it, which is why, again, the inhalers work great for that. So rosemary is made up of a chemical constituent that's called 1,8-cineol. And 1,8-cineol has been studied in brain performance in several different cohorts, nursing students, regular students, all during lots of animal studies too. But just the inhalation has been able to affect cognition. And it helps with a neurotransmitter in our brain called acetylcholine. And acetylcholine helps with memory. And so anyways, rosemary is fantastic. So even alone, you can just inhale rosemary and it helps with that. So they do it like during study sessions and things like that, just to help people with that. So peppermint, we all know peppermint is so great for helping us to feel more alert and has been shown in studies to help with memory and recall. So it's a great one, again, to just help lift us up and help us to focus in, stay alert. So it's great for keeping us alert. Again, you can substitute out spearmint if you prefer. And then the fourth one in this recipe is bergamot. And bergamot is a cross, so it's a citrus as well. It's a cross between lemon. Sometimes people say lemon and a sour orange, or lime and a sour orange, but it's full of monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes, and it helps the brain in a variety of ways. And really, it mostly acts on the anxiety. It has been shown in studies to be equivalent to taking a small dose of diazepam in actually being a anxiolytic, which means reducing anxiety and helping to offset any of our cortisol releases in our body. So for acute stress, bergamot has been shown to really, really help. And I came across in PubMed a great study, which was a review article of 10 trials that looked at bergamot and stress, which I thought was really an interesting trial. So a lot of times we can't concentrate because we're stressed, or because we're all over the place thinking of other things, and other emotions are getting in the way of our ability to have a clear focus. And so that's why bergamot is included in this recipe. So not just for your cognition, to help that part of your brain to increase memory, but to actually offset the stress that might be interfering with that. So it's a little bit of a well-rounded recipe in that way. So frankincense, rosemary, I wouldn't substitute those out. Peppermint, and then bergamot. If you wanted to substitute out for bergamot, things like neroli or wild orange are also fantastic, but bergamot would be my first choice for that, for sure. How are we doing? Is that interesting? I thought it was super interesting. Hope you think it's interesting. All right, the fifth one, let's see, so what was the name of that one on here? Oh, clarity and concentration. So that's still the name. Okay, next one is head ease. So this is all about headaches, right? And so there are so many different recipes. And so what I think is nice about this one is it's a little bit similar to past tense, which is one of my favorites. But instead of using wintergreen, this recipe uses Copaiba. And so actually Copaiba is one of the oils that's, if you spend $200 this month, you get Copaiba for free. So it's a good one to get in your arsenal if you don't have it. But Copaiba comes from the Amazon tree, a tree in the Amazon, Copaiba tree in the Amazon forest, and it has been used for hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, by the native Amazonians for a variety of health benefits. But pain, it tends to have a really great effect for pain, and it can be a great adjunct to things like frankincense, which can, again, cross that blood-brain barrier and to help the brain. Peppermint, very analgesic. It's cooling and soothing. That's why we use it for our headaches. And then lavender, since most headaches are also related to tension and stress, putting a little bit of lavender in there softens the scent, as well as gives that benefit in the moment too, if you're definitely stressed out. So this is a great, well-rounded recipe. Again, some of the amplifiers or alternatives that you could use would be, if you didn't have peppermint or you wanted to try something different, you could use wintergreen. You can also add wintergreen on top of this. If you didn't have lavender or you were wanting to try something new, blue tansy is another great relaxing oil, and it is another one that is fantastic for pain. Blue tansy is in our deep blue rub. It's what makes it blue. And so just using a little blue tansy in this would be great. It has great anti-anxiety effects as well. Frankincense, if you wanted to substitute out something different for frankincense, then you could try spikenard, which has many of the properties for pain and relief that the anti-inflammatory effects that frankincense has. And then Copaiba, if you wanted to add something, or maybe you only wanted to do 5 drops of Copaiba, you could also do 5 drops of black pepper, and black pepper is fantastic for pain. So you could substitute it if Copaiba wasn't your thing, or you didn't like it, or you didn't have it, or you could try some black pepper added to this to really, really help as well. So how are you guys doing? Hanging in there? All right, awesome. All right, let's do a couple bonus ones that I was able to do for you, a couple more. So the other two that at least I get asked a lot about are happy hormones. And so we know that hormones change as we age and as we become, go through puberty and go through pregnancies and go through menopause. They're always changing and can have pretty dramatic effects on our moods. And so when we think about our hormones, we want to make sure that we are always thinking of ways to support those hormones. And so these 4 oils can be used in any of the ways we've talked about, in an inhaler, in a diffuser, and even in roller bottles. And so kind of depending on what you need and where you're going. So Ylang, just in full disclosure, can be used as an aphrodisiac. So be careful who you're around when you're using it. But it's also fantastic for uplifting the mood, and also for balancing the mood, so like for mood swings. And so it's great to have in combating any of these hormonal imbalances. And if you put it in the diffuser at night with your partner nearby, I'm not responsible for what might happen, but it might help hormones. That's all I'm saying. The second oil that's in here is clary sage. And clary sage mimics estrogen in our body. And so it can help for some people to reduce the effects of menopause symptoms. For some people, they like to put it on the back of their feet. Some people like to put it on the back of their oil. For me, it's a very strong scent, so I tend to put it on the bottom of my feet. But it will help, and clary sage is the primary ingredient in our Clary Calm, for the very reason that it helps to minimize those feelings of stress, and also helps to work with some of the hormone swings that happen, as well as during PMS. For some people during their period, helps to relieve some of that pain and irritation. And then also for menopause, can help to just balance things out so that it can actually support you. So clary sage has also been shown in some studies to help women who have really painful cramps. For me, on a really heavy day, I'll put it on my abdomen, and I do the smiley face from hip bone to hip bone, one swoop across my abdomen using Clary Calm, and that will do the trick for me. So, and just a little bit will do. If you use too much Clary Sage, you can actually stop your period completely. So you want to be sure that you're using it in small amounts, but helps with PMS, helps with cramps. So it can help, you know, during your period or kind of throughout the month to help things move along. The thing about Clary Sage is it can help, it can actually make the uterus constrict or cramp or contract, I guess would be the right word. So you want to make sure that if anyone is pregnant, that they're not using that. Although it can be helpful for the very final stage of labor for pain with labor, but you could actually induce early labor if you use it while you're pregnant. So really should be used controlled along with the kind of consultation with a healthcare provider around that time. But for most of us, not pregnant, not a problem. Cinnamon. So cinnamon seems like a weird one, I think, to be included. Number one, the scent is amazing, right? So it helps that kind of those strong floral scents to be balanced out. It's also very warming, but it actually helps to increase progesterone and decrease testosterone. So again, helping to balance hormones, and that's why the cinnamon is used in this particular blend. And then bergamot, again, our friend bergamot is coming back up. And again, this is really for helping with stress. So lowering heart rate, lowering blood pressure, lowering cortisol levels, rebalancing our adrenal glands, and that's the stress hormones, right? Especially anxious feelings, stress, especially PMS-y feelings. Bergamot is a great one to balance this out. And again, bottom of the feet, back of the neck, pulse points, on diffuser jewelry, all of those ways are ways that you could use this particular blend. Let's see, next one, sleepy slumber. Oops, isn't that baby cute? Sleepy slumber. So again, inhaler, diffuser, or roller bottle. And we've got vetiver, lavender, wild orange, and ylang. So again, with wild orange, you could substitute neroli, you could substitute even lemon if you wanted to. Lavender, you could use Roman chamomile if you preferred, but the basic one here is vetiver, lavender, wild orange, and ylang. So we already talked about ylang, how great that is for stress, bringing down our cortisol levels, which can be stress, can be a reason why we don't sleep. And vetiver is the one that we haven't had in any of the other recipes yet. And vetiver is fantastic for the nervous system. Really calms down the nervous system. And especially if that's the source of why you can't get to sleep, is that mind chatter. Vetiver is a fantastic one that you can use. But you could also use cedarwood. Cedarwood was in one of our other recipes. Cedarwood is also great for the nervous system, calming, great for ADD. So vetiver or cedarwood are fantastic, and you could substitute one for the other. Lavender, I would do lavender or chamomile. You could also do, I guess you could do petitgrain. It wouldn't smell the same, but petitgrain is one that's the manly lavender. For lavender, also, gosh, magnolia. I'm trying to think of other ones that are florally. Magnolia is another great one. What you want to look for with the lavender is you want to find, if you're substituting, is you want to find any other oil that's high in linalool, L-I-N-A, L-O-O-L, linalool. So linalool is the chemical property in lavender that makes us relax. And so any of the other oils that are high in linalool will give you that same effect. So lavender, magnolia, chamomile, those are all going to have high linalool. And petitgrain. Petitgrain is the one that's made from the bark of the wild orange tree, but it doesn't have any of the florally scents to it, but a very high linalool. And wild orange is an interesting one. So wild orange has actually been shown to help reset our circadian rhythms. So for those people who are maybe watching this and have unusual sleep cycles, or maybe they work night shifts, if you're trying to reset your sleep cycles and your day is off, you can try wild orange. So wild orange is a great one to reset your circadian rhythms. Actually, I'm thinking maybe I'm going to take it on my next trip. Maybe see if it helps me with my jet lag. And then Ylang, we talked about just the anxiety and helping to bring that down. That's how it helps with sleep. So that's sleepy slumber. So kind of a different one, not maybe the usual that we would see, you know, just like the Serenity blend. So a little bit of a different one, which is why I like that one. And it's in the little stickers called Sleepy Slumber. Alrighty, so that was the 5 recipes plus 2 bonus ones. And if you want to go online and look for more stickers like this pack and other inhalers and stuff, I actually bought these for you guys at Your Oil Tools. That's where I got the stickers that we sent out to you. And then and I actually did buy my inhalers from Your Oil Tools as well. And Aroma Tools is another great place. Amazon, to buy roller bottles, to buy inhalers, to buy diffusers, all that stuff. You can also, I don't know if you can see my camera. There are lots of people who like make really cute roller bottles that let's see if I can get it. So you can see that how it says sleep and this really cute script. So people love to make these. You can find them on Etsy, places like that. But anyway, it's really cute little places. But I tend to just go easy and go to Your Oil Tools. It's my favorite. And for those of you who are newer to oils, make sure that you're participating in the Loyalty Rewards program. This is how you earn free points from doTERRA. You can purchase as much as you want from month to month. You don't have to purchase a huge amount. You just have to purchase one thing, and that's how you keep your points going. The more you order, the more points you get back. The longer you order, the more points you get back. But the Loyalty Rewards program is honestly like one of my favorite things about doTERRA, and helps me to save and to never, ever, ever run out of oils. So I just put at least one thing in my cart every month. Maybe it's toothpaste this month. Maybe next month it's rosemary. Maybe the next month it's hand sanitizer. I almost always have a breathe stick in my cart. And then doTERRA sends me a text and reminds me I have a cart ready. And then that's how I remember to log in and change it. And it's easy to start and easy to cancel. So if you're running out of oils, I highly recommend that you do the loyalty program, because that way you can always get free stuff. So anyways, that is it, girls. That is the end of the class. Any questions, or are you excited to try some of these new recipes?
Yeah, I learned some interesting things, especially with the hormones.
Oh, good.
That was good. I needed that.
Good. I'm glad.
That's
Awesome.
true. That's the one I'm going to use too.
It's the one that we can all at least need support, right?
Yes, indeedy.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you
awesome.
very much.
You're welcome.
Kath, is there a substitute for Ylang?
Is there a substitute for Ylang? I'd maybe have to look and see if Magnolia could be a close one. Why don't you like Ylang?
No, I just don't have any. I'm making the sleepy one, so I'll come get.
Let me go back to. You can come to my house and get some.
Okay.
Maybe just try the first 3. Just try the Vetiver, Lavender, and Wild Orange.
I don't have Vetiver, so I already did Cedarwood, Lavender, and Wild Orange.
Yeah. No, it's fine. So sometimes, this is a great example, right? You don't have all of them, but the other 3 are just as powerful. And I always say when we start with oils, it's kind of like baby food, right? Sometimes for some people, you could use Vetiver or Cedarwood, and you're like, okay, I'm out. That's all I needed. And then you're like, okay, maybe that doesn't work. And then you can add another layer to that, Vetiver and Lavender. And then you can maybe add the Wild Orange on top. So always, you can always in a stepwise way. And that's what's great about making these blends is you can start with one and you're like, that didn't do so good. Let me add a couple of drops of this and customize it to what you need. So
Well, good. I made seasonal and immune while you were talking.
Good job, Mom.
I know.
You're a good student. Any other questions?
Nope.
I don't know if anybody else knows what a good substitute for ylang ylang would be. Anybody have
No.
any ideas? I'd have to look up the chemical constituents.
Okay.
Maybe rose.
Questions.
You're asking hard
Jasmine.
questions, Mom.
It's okay.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining. I hope that you'll be able to share these and apply the knowledge in lots of different ways.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
You're
for your
welcome.
time. It was
Yeah,
great.
of course. See you guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Good night, Liz.
Good night.
It's late for you. Or maybe early. I don't know if you're on night still.
Yep, nighttime.
Yeah. All right, girl. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I'll get you some Yahoo in a minute.